Hi, welcome to the third edition of Planting a Hosta Garden at New Hampshire Hostas. A viewer asked if we could do a panoramic view of the garden today, and so we're going to show you that. It is a very long, narrow garden, and that was the difficulty in showing it to you earlier. It's a bit of making a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You're going to see the problems that we've got to hide. But hopefully you'll see in future episodes that we've dealt with it and hidden them. We've actually started planting. Behind me to my left you can see the front portion we've begun planting, but I'm not going to talk about that today. Today I want to show you some more samples of established understory trees that really enhance your garden and give it a distinct flavor. And they're choices that you can make to pick the tree that you like, but also be careful that you pick the tree that works for the site that you're doing. Read a little bit on the tree that you're thinking about and make sure if it needs moist soil, you're putting it in moist soil. And if it needs dry, high conditions, put it in a high part of your garden. Things like that, and the appropriate amount of sunlight. One of the problems that we have here in this particular situation is that we're trying to put a grass path for people to walk from the parking lot above down to the lawn below. And because we have a slope and we have a lot of drainage area above us, it's been washing out with the thunderstorms that we've had the last 2 weeks. So what I've done here is something I've done in the past. I've actually sown the grass underneath this piece of burlap. I went to a local farm store and for $40 I bought enough burlap to do the path, and I just sowed it like you would a normal lawn, but then I spread out the burlap and I've tied it down with some rock, and hopefully before the next washout comes the grass is going to come up through it, and the burlap will hold the soil while the grass is coming up, and eventually the burlap will just rot away and you won't even know it was there. You don't need to do this in most situations, but where we've got this slope and the washout, it's an easy trick to do. So today we're going to show you the trees, and in future episodes we'll start showing you more of the planting and going into detail of why we chose what we chose. So I hope you enjoy this. First tree I want to show you today is Japanese Bloodgood. This tree is very easy to grow. It's also very common. You're going to find it in almost every garden center across the country from zone 5 and hardier, or zone 5 and warmer, I guess I should say. It's in every garden center because it's a beautiful tree, it's easy to grow, and it's a classic. But it's so common it can be boring. So we're going to show you some other choices today, things that you might want to have in your garden if you're looking for more variety. They're a little harder to find. You can find them online. You can find them at certain garden places, garden sales. I actually buy mine at Hosta conventions. But this is Bloodgood, goes to about probably 20 feet and has a great red color all year long. Some of the others that we're going to show you, you'll actually see clematis vines growing up through them. That's another thing you can do. Japanese maples come in all shapes and sizes, a lot of different colors, growth patterns, some very small, some tall and narrow, some broader, like Bloodgood. But there's lots of choices, and it keeps your garden from being boring. This particular Japanese maple that we've put here next to the rock is a very small variety. It's rated at 8 feet tall and only 4 feet wide. Which doesn't always hold true. If they're doing really well, we may get more out of that. If it gets winter beaten, we may get a smaller tree. But the unique part of this one is the foliage, the pink and the green, and it's got enough green in the providing it with enough chlorophyll that it grows fairly well. But it's called Benai Shishinhenge. I don't think I'm pronouncing that properly, but we'll put it on the screen so that you can see it. But there are hundreds of, if not thousands, of Japanese maple varieties, and just the pure uniqueness makes them great focal points in the garden. Many of these shots are in Sharis Garden. Some of you may know Shari because she maintains our Facebook page. Here is Acer palmatum dissectum, also fairly common today. It gets about 5 to 6 feet tall and 10 feet across. It's a really graceful addition to any garden. You should place this one on a sunny edge to your shade garden. Here Shari has 2 Japanese maples side by side with widely contrasting color that stimulates the eye. Here is a semi-weeping Japanese maple in amber red tones. Here Shari has Clematis jackmanii climbing on an Acer palmatum dissective. And here is a lavender clematis that resembles a tropical passion flower. Here is a Cornus cusa gold star. It's a semi-weeping variegated dogwood. It's one of my favorites because it's blooming later in the season after a lot of the trees are done blooming. The Cornus cusas are still in bloom. Astilbes are a great hosta companion plant. They don't tolerate dry soil, so be careful where you plant them. But they come in shades of red, pink, and white, with a very delicate plume-like flower and fern-like foliage. I talked in another episode about digging a $500 hole for a $50 tree. This one is something I planted about 5 years ago. It's Paniculata Quickfire, which is going to have first a bright white flower, and then when it dries, a very nice reddish crimson flower. But it came out great, especially the hostas. If you can see, I actually dug it out of the parking lot. So I overdug the hole. I actually sifted the soil, added a lot of compost, and these are the results I got about 5 years later. So it just makes my point that soil preparation is everything. Those of you in Iowa, where I just came back from the convention, you can just ignore everything I'm saying because I saw your soils and you don't have to do any prep at all. But here in New England and in most parts of the country, we really do have to do a lot of prep. And the more prep you do, the better results you're going to get. This is almost a full sun situation, as you can tell by the hydrangeas thriving. And this is Hosta Sun Power right here, the yellow one. And the one with the variegated green and yellow is Atlantis. Okay, in closing today, I just want to show you one thing. I want to show you the results of the urns that we planted the very first episode. Northern exposure has been up at the top of our driveway entrance for the last 6 or 8 weeks, and it's looking pretty good. So I thought I'd give you an idea of how it turned out. And one last shot, the peacock here is another piece of garden art that's guarding our washout pathway here to keep people off it until the grass comes up. So until the next episode, happy gardening.